Hello everyone. This is a 1935 Washington Parlor wood burning stove. This video is not an instructional video. This video is more a journal video of my experience with researching one of these stoves, obtaining one of these stoves, and installing one of these stoves. The way I went about researching them was I looked on Craigslist, I looked on OfferUp, and I went to a few swap meets looking for one of these. I ended up finding one of these stoves on OfferUp, and I decided on this particular one because it was already in good shape and it hardly needed any touch-ups, just minor little things to do to it. So before deciding on one of these stoves, you have to decide on which one is right for you. They basically come in three sizes: small, medium, and large. The small one can heat up a room up to 800 square foot. The one that I decided on was medium, and it could heat up a room about 1200 square foot. I traveled to Hemet, California to make the purchase on this stove. And when I was there, I met the husband and wife. They were a really nice couple. They originally purchased this stove from someone in Big Bear, California, and their intention was to cook on it. But for whatever reason, they weren't able to utilize it the way they wanted to utilize it. And, along came me, and I purchased it. And the day I went to pick it up, we had to load it in my car. It was pretty heavy, but with two of us, we got it in the front seat. So after I got this stove home, I came to realize one of my big problems. I realized that this sucker is heavy, and I'm all by myself, and there's no one around to help me unload it. So I thought about things, and I decided to do what the greatest builders of all time, the Egyptian, did. I walked it down, and after I walked it down, I sat a piece of plywood underneath of it, and I just dragged it, and I used it as you would a sled. And it moved along pretty good. I was pretty impressed. I got it inside, and I was able to situate it. Now this stove come apart. Not only can you use it as a fireplace, you can also cook on it. Okay, so here goes one more of my major mistakes. After I purchased this stove, I then came to realize I needed a chimney for it. And I have no idea about chimneys. I have no experience with this. I'm learning as I go. So I started my process again now for a chimney. I researched Craigslist, I researched OfferUp, and I went to a few swap meets. After, time and effort, I decided on one I found on Craigslist in Chino, California. So I drove all the way to Chino. I met a very nice, sweet lady. We spoke for an hour or so just about general things and freedom of life. So I started on my way back home. On my way back home, my vehicle overheated on me twice. I had to pull over. I had extra water. I used it up. I kept on going, and then for some reason it dumped the water again, and I was left stranded. So I had to walk for a bit. I went to someone's house. I asked them to use their water hose. They allowed me to do it, and I filled up, and then I went to my truck. I got it started, and then I made my way home. And I was pretty proud of myself for making it home because of the obstacles that I went through. And it was pretty interesting meeting a nice lady, learning some information about the chimney, getting stranded and working my way out of it, and then finally make it back in. So that was a pretty interesting day. So far I was able to get my chimney. So all right, here we go. After I brought the chimney home and I unloaded it, I then come to realize another major mistake. I realized that this chimney is 14-inch wide. That is way too big of a hole for me to cut into my ceiling to stick out of here. So here I am thinking that I failed. Like, oh my god, I got the wrong chimney. It's too big. What am I going to do now all the time that I spent so far? And then one of my neighbor came by and we got to talking about it. And he was like, listen, this is one of the best chimneys that you can get to prevent fires. The best thing you can do, you have all the pipe in here. All you have to do is remove the inside of them. And I did the measurements, and I came to realize that I had enough for 16 feet of 8-inch piping because it's the same grade as the type that they sell at the store for $15 a feet. So I was able to use this. So my emotion was a roller coaster. Here I was thinking I wasted all my time. I bought the wrong chimney. But thanks to my neighbor that came over and we talked it out, and I realized that I had the tube in. All I had to do was gut those So now my project's back on. So here we go. So as I started putting my tubings together, I realized that I needed some elbows, some 90 degrees. So I went to the local hardware store and I made the purchase of a couple. And then I came to realize how greedy the hardware stores are. You know, they sell for 1 feet of tubing for $15. I spent a so little amount of money on all the chimney. I just couldn't believe how much of a ripoff that the hardware stores are. So I came back and I got to started on the chimney. I got to started making on the holes on the inside. And the day I was on the roof, it was when the Santa Ana winds were here. You know, it knocked down my ladder. I was on the roof. I was stuck for a second because I had to jump down. And then as I'm taking the chimney tubing up to the old fireplace that I have up there, you know, the wind blew those tubes away from my hands. It did it twice because those things were about 4 feet tall that I had in my hands, and it was pretty windy. So you know, it was very frustrating getting up there. At times, I wanted to yell and scream, but then I realized you have to learn. You have to have patience within yourself because this is going to be very beneficial. And towards the end of the video, I'll let everyone know how beneficial it is to having a wood burning stove. So after all my frustration and my obstacles, I've got it in. I'm still waiting on some parts, so I can't wrap it up, but it is functional right now. It does burn wood. And in the process of all of this, after the stove is installed, then I came to realize I used my chainsaw and my chainsaw broke. And I have no experience with chainsaw. So here we go now. A new obstacle in the way. I had to learn how to take this entire chainsaw apart, put it back together, and let me tell you, it's a very frustrating, but it's also a very fulfilling. It's also a very fulfilling way of learning something new. So the chainsaw still doesn't work, so I have to resort to burning wood the old-fashioned way until I figure out how to get the chainsaw to work. And I'm not gonna buy a new chainsaw. I want to learn how to fix my own chainsaw that I have. In the whole process of this, I didn't have to use too much stool. All I needed was just the basic. I just needed a little skill saw to cut the metal tubing a little bit. I need a little screwdriver. I needed a plier, a little hammer to bang things, and of course some silicone to seal some joints. You know, in the process, your hands get pretty banged up. You have no idea. You're just working on something, and all of a sudden, your hands just start bleeding. But it's like that. You bang your fingers up, you bang your knees up, you bang your knuckles up. But you know what? All the frustration will be worth it all in the end once the stove is connected and you feel that beautiful warmth on your skin. In my opinion, when you do things for yourself, you discover things about your mind, you challenge yourself. You learn more about your strength, you learn more about your weaknesses, you learn more about your patience, and you grow overall as a person. My video journals are for people with the will and the drive to accomplish an idea in their mind with really no experience at all. All they have is just their idea, their mind, and they're able to use their common sense to accomplish something that's very beneficial to them in the present and will be in the future. You know, I would like to live a pure life with no bullshit, no lies, no manipulation, no greed, no lust, and no love for money. And I want to live a life where I don't have to rely on the electrical company, or I don't have to depend on the big greedy hardware stores, or the big greedy markets. So I want to be able to do as many things as self-reliant and self-efficient as much as I possibly can. One of the best way I've found to get something done is to research it and then do it. Just start doing it. And trust me, in the process, you'll find your way. At the start of anyone's project, as long as your intention is good, the outcome of your project will be good. Don't get frustrated and don't worry about the struggles along the way. That's just the labor of love that you're putting into your project. It is my goal to avoid buying new things whenever I can. I do not like making the rich companies richer, and I don't like to make the greedy people even more greedier by getting my hard-earned money and local people in the community their hard-earned money, because everyone work hard, and it's a shame that the big company take advantage of them by overpricing things that they know these people need to make their everyday life a little bit easier. So taking advantage by price gouging those objects, I don't believe in it. And these are a few reasons of why I like to put out these videos. You know, I like to shop on Craigslist. I like to shop in thrift stores. I like to go to swap meet, to garage sales, anywhere wherever you can find a deal and find those hidden jewels from the past that all you have to do is put in some time, effort, and a little bit of love into it, and you can make those hidden jewels shine again. When someone retires later in life, the electrical bill is one of the major expense that they will have. So any creative ways of reducing your electrical bill is very beneficial to someone. A wood burning stove, it is very beneficial, but don't get me wrong, it is also hard work because you have to make sure you prepare your wood. Some people prepare it the night before, some people prepare everything before winter is hit. Just depends on the individual. But you do have to prepare your wood, you do have to find your wood, you do have to clean your wood burning stove out. So there is effort that you have to put into it. But overall, I'm very happy with my stove. It's beyond my expectation. I did not realize that I would be able to be as lucky as to have such a beautiful stove. It keeps the place nice and warm, and you know, I enjoy it very much. And I hope the viewers could learn a thing or two or benefit from a thing or two by watching this video. All right, thank you.